Hello, and welcome to another episode of First, the show where I, Mark Krishnez, gives you my first impressions on a game. And this here episode is all about Young Souls, a gorgeous 2D brawler meets story-rich action RPG where you fight hordes of belligerent goblins, level up with hundreds of weapons and accessories, explore and journey between worlds as rebellious twins battle their way to save their foster father. That is what the description says on Steam, and that sounds really cool. I think I would really like that game, and the beat 'em up action that I got to enjoy was pretty good. However, I spent an hour in this game, and I went back and counted every minute of actual gameplay, and in that hour, I only played the game for 13 minutes. What were those other 47 minutes? Story. And guess what, people? I skipped the story at times because I just wanted to get back to playing the game. But the game had none of that and wanted me to engage with its story, which it's okay. It wasn't clever enough or funny enough or interesting enough to make me want to put up with it at the very start, which is something I really don't like doing. I don't like getting a lot of story at the beginning. I want to see what the game is like and if I actually enjoy playing it so that I can know if I want to keep playing it. But it didn't do that. And I know this is something you hear from me a lot. This is something you're going to learn from me a lot. I don't like story dumps to start a game. I just think that is one of the worst ways to introduce a player to a game. Games are games first and foremost. The gameplay is the most important part of the game because it's a game. And when you don't let me experience that at the very start, or at least not a lot of it, I get worried. I get worried that this imbalance is going to continue throughout the experience, and it's going to be way more story and less gameplay than I would like. And there's just no way of knowing if that's going to be the case. And it's just a bummer because in the case of something like Young Souls, when I did get to actually play the game, I was having a good time, but it took away control from me so often that I don't know what the game is going to be like, really. I don't have an idea of what the game really is. As I read the description, I looked at it all, I'm like, I don't know a lot of this. I didn't get any sense that there was going to be any kind of loot system of any kind. I see some screenshots of exercising, and there's this store where they're going around and changing clothing. I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff in here that I think would be cool, and I want to mess around with, but the game didn't even use its story to introduce me to these various aspects of it, like the store where I can change my clothing or any of that jazz. It just gave me basic ass story stuff, and I was like, I want to play the game. Just let me play the game. Gosh darn it. Also, with the story, it just swears way too much. These characters are just fuck this, shit that, for no other reason than just to swear. And there is a filter, profanity filter or whatever, but it just blanks them out. It just asterisks the stuff out. And I think it would be better if it changed them to happy words. Because this is such a cute and colorful game that looks like it would be great to play with your kids. But then, for whatever reason, the writers decided to just put fuck bombs and shit bombs and all this bullshit. I swear a lot, okay? Yeah, I'm fine with swearing. But I don't think swearing for the sake of swearing is funny or clever or anything other than just lazy. It's just lazy. So, that's a problem with the story as well. And that definitely made it harder to want to engage with it, because anytime I'd see a swear come up, I'm like, oh, well, if this is the kind of writing I can expect, then why should I even care? And I didn't care. And it really is a bummer because, like I said, it's very, very cute. I love the art and aesthetic of this game. It has this wonderful pastel color palette, and it's just so warm and inviting and beautiful to look at. You just want to give it a hug. And then when you go in for the hug, it's like, fuck you, you son of a bitch. I'm going to shit on you, because it just has the pottiest of potty mouths. It's crazy. It's such a pretty game. That's what initially drew me to it. That's what made me want to play, because I had no idea what kind of game it was. I just saw some of the art and I'm like, oh man, that's a good looking game. I want to play that. And then I started playing it, and I'm like, let me play you. Stop it with the story. Stop it. Just stop it. Especially when there are times where the dialogue box would disappear so fast I couldn't even read what was being said, because there's no voice acting of any kind. It's all reading, and it's just, God, just let me play the game. I love beat 'em ups, and I was enjoying when you were a beat 'em up, but you weren't a beat 'em up enough for me. So yeah, the thing I'll say though is that as bad of a first impression as Young Souls made on me in its first hour, I enjoyed what I played enough to want to keep going and hopefully get past that hurdle where it is more gameplay than story, and I can engage in these other systems, explore more of the world, see what this game has to offer. And I'm still excited about the idea of playing it. It has not lost me completely yet. Yes, I am bummed by the amount of story it threw at me initially, but I am hopeful and optimistic that it was just a way of getting all that out of the way so that it can focus on being a great game, a game that I can enjoy for 10 plus hours, which I think is around the time it says it is. I think it's like a 10 to 12 hour game, and hopefully it's not 9 hours of story and 3 hours of gameplay. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my friggin' mind. But based on my first impression, not great, but it's still got enough hooks in me that I will continue with it at least another hour. But if that is nothing but a continuation of what I experienced in the first hour, I don't know if I'm going to have the strength to power through and hope that it gets better. But yeah, that will do it for this here episode of First. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me on Twitter and pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you'd like to see me streaming games like Young Souls, you can do so over at twitch.tv/PX Sausage. If you'd like to check out the videos I make and you aren't already doing so, you can do that over at youtube.com/Pixelated Sausage. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and all that good jazz. That is again youtube.com/Pixelated Sausage. Speaking of Pixelated Sausage, you put a little dot and a com after that, you got my website, pixelatedsausage.com. And if you go there, you get more stuff like this as well as the art I'm making. If you see something you like, you can purchase a print of the piece you fancy. And if you fancy the site in general and anything that we do, please go over to patreon.com/PXS and support us that way. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye!